session. At this time, Ms. City Clerk, are there any public comments?
No, there are not any public comments.
Okay, very good. And can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Sanchez is not present. Councilmember Ibarra?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Figueroa? Councilmember
Here.
Charette? Councilmember Reynoso is not present. Councilmember Calvin?
Here.
Councilmember Alexander is present. Mayor Valdivia?
Here? Okay, once again, if there's any public comments, none? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and go into closed session. (16) 2022 joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. At this time, I'll ask all council members to please return to their desks. I now call to order this open session. We welcome you tonight and our viewing audience on Channel 3, as well as those members here present of our public. Thank you for being here tonight. This evening, I invite Pastor Greg McNair. Pastor? Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Pastor Greg McNair of the All Nations Church to lead us in tonight's invocation, followed by Councilmember Sandra Ibarra to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please, as we salute our flag and a moment of prayer. Pastor McNair.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us all bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this privilege, this opportunity tonight to come as a collaboration of people who are concerned and well-wishers of this amazing pioneering city. We thank you, Father, in Jesus' name, that you've allowed us to gather of all walks of life, all creeds, all backgrounds, but for the same common goal, and that's to see this city continue to rise from the ashes of status quo thinking to a place of growth and development. And as we undertake this time of meeting tonight, we pray your divine wisdom, for your word says in James 1, verse 5, if any man wants wisdom, let him ask of God, and you give it to us liberally, and you upbraid not. And so tonight, Father, our prayer is the prayer of that great prophet in the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 24. Let justice run down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. We pray for this your divine presence upon our mayor, the city council, every officer, every official, every person under the sound of my voice. May this meeting be one that you be pleased and that this city can continue to thrive and go forward. And God, we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Everybody put your right hand over your heart as we face our flag and honor this symbol of our freedom, and we'll say our Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Pastor McNair. Greg McNair of the All Nations Church. Thank you, sir, for your leadership. Thank you for your light here in the community. It was a joy and delight to be with you a couple of weeks ago, and your congregation. What a fabulous congregation you have. It was great to be there. Thank you for the restoration of lives, families, marriages. This is what the city of San Bernardino needs. Lots of hope. And we thank you, Pastor McNair. At this time, we will open with a moment of silence, and I'll ask the galley to please observe with me a moment of silence. A moment of silence in memory of Jose Reynoso, who passed away just recently. Councilmember Ben Reynoso's father. If you would please, a moment of silence. Thank you. We dedicate our well wishes and respect to the Reynoso family. Councilman, we send our deepest thoughts to you and our prayers as a city. On behalf of our city family, our condolences to your family, sir. And we wanted to honor you tonight and your father and his legacy. This time, Ms. City Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Councilmember Charette.
Here.
Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
And Mayor Valdivia.
Here. Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. Ms. City Attorney. Ms. City Attorney, is there anything to report from our closed session?
We had several closed session items this evening, but there is no reportable action.
Very good. Mr. City Manager and our City Manager report.
Thank you. And if we can have the report queued up. Continued progress in San Bernardino. We're initiating a lot of projects. Capital improvements are going to start picking up quite a bit. We're awarding some more soon, but one we awarded late last year, the security fencing project at Second Lake Park is underway. It's going to take a couple months to complete, but we have initiated construction of that. It's not just the park, it's also Pioneer Cemetery. We are power washing downtown streets. As a matter of fact, they were doing that up and down D Street near the City Hall today, cleaning things up and just making the town look a little bit better. The community has said the town needs to be a little cleaner, and we are in the process of doing exactly that. We're initiating a program to do that citywide, but we're starting with the downtown area. This picture was taken this morning, by the way, in front of on D Street, the corner of D and 3rd. We have been getting a lot of food donations through the Animal Services Department. Best Friends Animal Society, Champion Pet Foods have stepped up and provided us with some additional food. The census in the shelter is kind of high right now, so we solicited and received significant donations in order to help feed the puppies and kitties that are in the shelter. Also, we are back open to walk-in visitors. So. And we have discounts on dog adoptions. Any dog 5 months or older is going to be able to be adopted for $25. That includes the adoption fee, a microchip, vaccines, and spay or neuter. So that's about as good a deal as you're going to find anywhere. The police department had a recent success. They were able to arrest an individual who had been conducting armed robberies around the city, at least 10 that we know of, and the PD was able to find him and arrest him. Also we're starting to do some traffic enforcement and parking enforcement work around the city. Again, kind of the work on cleaning things up. So abandoned vehicles, trailers, motorhomes are now being removed from city streets. It's been a long time coming, but we are there, and that'll be ramping up over time. Also did Crouse of the Cop. They are also we did a similar event over the holiday season, but we recently did another one, another way of making a connection between the police department and the community that the police department serves. General plan meetings are coming up in March. We are continuing to move forward with the preparation of the city's new general plan, downtown specific plan, and development code. So there are a number of meetings coming up. For people who are interested, please go to the general fund website, which is futuresb2050.com. A number of activities around the city in honor of Black History Month, including at the Center for Individual Development, Battle Creek Park, Rudy Hernandez Community Center, Verdemont Community Center, and Ruben Campos Community Center, all putting on various events to commemorate Black History Month. The Parks Department is working with LNA Imaging to do free mammograms on February 25th, and that's an important service to provide to our community. Obviously, the nomination period is now open for elected officials who are up this year. There are 4: mayor, wards 1, 2, and 4. So nomination process is open now. free smoke alarm installation is going to be happening around town in partnership with the American Red Cross. Obviously, it certainly is a life-saving opportunity for people. There's actually been a recent rash of reports around the country of really significant problems being caused by lack of a smoke alarm. So we are aggressively pursuing the opportunity to provide and install smoke alarms around town. The point-in-time count, which usually takes place in January, was delayed and is now scheduled to take place on February 24th. The city is an active participant in this. I think we have about 150 people, 150 volunteers who are looking to participate in the point-in-time count this year. Absolutely critical that we get as accurate a count as possible, as that helps define how much funding we get from HUD in the homelessness arena. And that, Mayor, City Council, concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. I want to encourage our viewing audience and those in attendance. Spring time change are coming. Great time to remember to check your fire alarms. We do that around the Valdivia House and want to encourage you, please. It is the last month we've heard significant fire structure and deaths, and I want to rise to encourage our community. Please check your fire alarms. It's important. Every 6 months. It's a good time right around March and the fall on the time change. With that, we'll go to our council members. Council Member Alexander, sir, of the 7th District, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening, San Bernardino. Hope all of you are well. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. What we have here, I held my quarterly chat and chew for the 7th Ward, and that was quite informative for the 7th Ward. I thank all those that participated in the chat and chew. I also had my neighborhood association, North End Neighborhood Association, also attended that. And I would just like to say my condolences to, again, Councilman Reynoso and Councilwoman Calvin, because she lost her grandmother. So my condolences to you on your loss. Upcoming events is one I have. It's called Dear California. It's April 9th. It's put on by Sandals Church. They come, Pastor Reinhardt asked if we want to participate in that, and it is a one-day cleanup or one-day love your community. I called it Love San Bernardino for a Day. I just renamed it, but it's called Dear California. Every place that Sandals has a church, they volunteer for one day to help their community. And in Azusa, they reached 1,000 people. They pulled 1,000 people in Azusa. In LA, they pulled 25,000. So I'm challenging everybody on this dais, everybody in here, if you love San Bernardino, I'll get you the flyer. I have it. I'll get you the flyer. It's April 9th. You'll hear me say this again. It's called Dear California, but I'm renaming it to Love San Bernardino. So you'll see it again. I'm going to push it out. Hopefully everybody on the council can come out and participate. They have a lot of programs, landscaping, gardens, neighborhood cleanups, foster care cleanups, just a ton of things to help to love San Bernardino for one day. And again, it's called, the real name is called Dear California. You can look it up. It's on their website. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Great report. Councilmember Kelvin of the 6th District.
Good evening, San Bernardino. I'm so happy to see everybody in this full house. Happy belated Valentine's to you all. I'd like to say thank you to all the commissioners, all the commissioners of every ward, but in particular, the commissioners of the 6th Ward. My commissioners do such a fantastic job in making sure that they attend all the meetings. You know, those are volunteer positions, and that they make sure that I am abreast on all of the issues and concerns that are going on with every commission. So I dearly, dearly appreciate them. I'd like to also say thank you to Ward 6 community members who have been reaching out to me regarding the issues of Ward 6. I want to say right here, so that you all who are viewing me at home and are in the audience, that you know that City Manager Field and I are discussing the issues that you feel like these have been neglected and you've been underserved for 55 years. That is a major concern of mine, and every single day I will continue to work harder to make sure that what has been done is no longer able to be done here in the city of San Bernardino's Ward 6. I'd like to in honor of Black History Month, I'd like to congratulate San Bernardino's Pacesetters drill team, who recently performed in the Super Bowl halftime show. We went all the way to the Super Bowl. San Bernardino's Pacesetters drill team is actually 63 years old. For 63 years in this city, they have been engaging and mentoring the youth of this city to the point where they made it to the Super Bowl. Ward 6, our general plan meeting is coming up March the 10th, 6 to 8 p.m., New Hope Life Center, 1505 West Highland Avenue. Your presence and your voices are needed. I won't go back over the point in time and count, but definitely know we only have 150 volunteers. I'm going to be out there, and I hope that some of my colleagues will be out there. 5 o'clock in the morning, though, is when we have to meet at the 66ers Stadium, just so that we can get more information on how to use our cell phones to be able to track the information. With that, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Corey Hodges, who works in the city manager's office. Mr. Hodges has, stand on up, Corey, go on, stand up. Mr. Hodges has been collaborating with the county to make sure that the city of San Bernardino is represented there and that we will have the volunteers out that we need in order to get the count that we need. So with that being said, let's see here, only got a couple more, y'all. It is my understanding that the highly successful Veteran Stand Down event, which was held last October at Paris Hill Park, where over 300 unsheltered veterans and other community members were able to receive tons of services. So those details are going to be following. I attended my second League of California Cities Community Service Commission meeting this week, and it was wonderful to be surrounded by other council members, mayors, city managers who are diligently working together to bring innovative changes to their cities. We agreed to target the following areas: homelessness with wraparound services, and also with an emphasis on building of housing to serve all the needs. Parks and access to open spaces, children, child care, libraries and youth programs, and the fourth one being senior and aging issues. The governor's budget is one that the League of California Cities focuses in on to be able to know how much money are we going to be getting to be able to target those areas. So I'd like to share that the proposed budget for 2022-2023, there will be $286 billion that will be flowing down to previous commitments. Projected $45.7 billion surplus, $20.6 billion for discretionary purposes. Many of the investments of interest for cities are one-time investments, but those one-time investments are able to relieve some of the funding that we would have to use out of our normal general fund. For the expansions of existing programs, ongoing state funding and sustained financial partnerships are crucial for cities to address California's biggest challenges. So that means that we will be getting some funding here. I don't see our Director of Finance, Barbara Whitehorn, but I was going to ask Ms. Whitehorn that she come back to us next meeting to let us know exactly what San Bernardino, the allocation for our city. That would be all.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Calvin, I did not recognize and did not know until now. My condolences to your family on your passing of your grandmother.
Thank you.
And our city family sends our condolences to your family. Mr. Reynoso, this 5th District, sir, you're recognized.
How's everybody doing? I'm doing all right? Perk up. Perk up. All right? The last thing that my father would have wanted was for me to be moping around, for the city to be sad, to be dwelling on things that we can't control. My father fought a good fight from everything. A stroke when I was 5, renal cancer, he lived with 1 kidney, lung cancer from the age of, I was like 13 years old. I watched him fight stage 4 lung cancer basically my whole life, essentially. And then in the end, you know, cancer got him. And he's not the first person, and sadly he won't be the last person that will die from cancer. But if you have any questions about who the man was, you're looking at his legacy. I've got siblings. We've got youth that are coming into this world. And there's so much optimism and hope. I'm just grateful for it. I appreciate all the well wishes. It hasn't been easy. I can't respond to everybody. It takes too much out of me. I can't deal with that right now. I'm dealing in my own way, but it's reinvigorated me in a way that's reminded me of three things my father always taught me. Is that in the end, in his career, this guy was nominated to be superintendent, and after he was forced into retirement, he said that he wished he would have said no more. That there's too many yes men. That there's politics, unfortunately, in everything. Everything. And so, yeah, I'm a politician now. And he got to swear me in. And so I'm just grateful for that. And when we're talking about people like my father, who passed away from diseases that have other factors that contribute to it, like the environment, I'm bringing forth the warehouse moratorium. Many of you are here for that. Many of you are here to get answers. And I'm a beginning leg in the official capacity of the work that we've done on the outside. Plenty of people in this community want to know what's happened over the last 10 to 15 years around warehouse development, what the living conditions are like in the city, and as they relate to the equal opportunities for employment. Some people will tout it as equal and well and living wages. It's not true. That's the end game here, is to actually be able to study what has been done in this city by, us crying bankrupt, whatever you want to pinpoint, corruption, whatever. Wherever you started, we're here now. And we've got about 76 warehouses in this city. We've got good players. We've got really bad players. We've got right in the middle. And what this would look like, and I had a lot of support before, and I brought it back because this happened during the Zoom era. It was very easy to say no, and only died by 1 vote last time. Very easy to say no to something, but we had support for at least a 1-year moratorium to study that. This isn't anti-jobs. This is pro-jobs. This is pro-life. And so in honor of my father, maybe my colleagues, I don't care, I'll guilt you into this one. Maybe we'll impose that warehouse moratorium by approving it at the end of the agenda tonight, and we'll come back and we'll get that 6th vote that was needed last time at our meeting on March 2nd, because that's how it's going to work. If it passes at the end of this agenda, I want you all to come back on March 2nd, and you make your voices heard. And so I'm very excited to hear from you in public comment, and I'll yield. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Charette. Councilman Charette of the 4th District. Sir, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I have expressed my condolences to my colleague, Councilor Reynoso, and to Councilwoman Calvin on their losses, but I want to take this opportunity to wish both or give my condolence publicly to the Reynoso family, the entire family, as well as to the Calvin family for their losses, and I mean that sincerely. As far as announcements, tomorrow evening, February 17th, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., the North Park Neighborhood Association meeting. They meet at the Life Changing Ministries Church, which is at 5395 North F Street. And again, that's at 6:30 p.m., and they keep it to about an hour. February 26th, the Del Rosa Neighborhood Action Group, better known as Dr. NAG, they have a monthly cleanup, and that will be on Saturday, February 26th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And for further information, you can contact Dan Doreen for details at 909-883-4039. And then also on that same day is the Community Dump Day at San Manuel Stadium, 280 South East Street. That's you can take your products to be dumped, large or items. That starts at 8 a.m. and lasts until 11, and that is again at San Manuel Stadium, February 26th, 280 South East Street. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem of the 3rd District, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to also express my condolences to my colleagues, to the council members, Councilmember Reynoso and Councilmember Calvin. I genuinely understand. I feel that grief too, because I think many of us up here have experienced the loss of a loved one, especially one that has, helped shape you as well. So my condolences to you and your families. Mr. City Manager, I'd like to, let's see, there's a couple of departments that I'd like to talk about real quickly. But before I do, I'd like to encourage the public to get very involved with your neighborhood association. There's lots of meetings that are going on. For more information on that, you can easily look them up on Facebook. It's the Neighborhood Association Council in San Bernardino. Get involved. It's a great way to make some change in your community. As far as the community and economic development, Mr. City Manager, I really enjoyed seeing this. In fact, I had the opportunity to meet with the chamber this morning and shared some of this information as well. I would love to at some point have the chamber come back and give their updates and their information as well as they did in the past. But this is great information here as far as how San Bernardino is growing and the great work that is happening in the city. So if you haven't had an opportunity, please, there's some in the back there of the room. I encourage you to take a look at this. This is really great work. So thank you to that department. I know that they're asked to do a lot of work with very limited resources and very little staff. I know that Oliver there has probably been working his behind off in that department, and so has everybody else. So thank you for that. Also with our Parks and Rec, I want to say thank you so much for the work that's being done to help our seniors. Tomorrow at 4:30. The Senior Advisory Council is going to be meeting right down the street here at 600 at the corner on 5th Street at 600 5th Street at 4:30. And I would like to encourage the public to get involved and volunteer, because we have a lot of seniors in this community that need help. And it's something as simple as making a phone call to just check in on them to make sure they're doing all right. Because unfortunately, over the last couple of years, many of them have been unable to leave their homes, have been unable to just simply go pick up some groceries. So just giving them a call to make sure they're doing okay. Mental health is something that affects everyone, and including our seniors as well. And so just something as simple as picking up the phone and just checking in on them and saying, are you okay? And there's so many other things that our Parks and Rec Department is doing, and that's one of them. And so thank you for putting that together. I greatly appreciate that council meeting, and I would fully support all the work that's going on there as well. So thank you with that. And then finally, our police department, thank you to the Southern District for hosting the Coffee with a Cop and Crafts with a Cop at the office down there. Thank you to the leadership. There were so many kids that showed up and had a great time, and such a great opportunity for them to interact with our officers and get to know them, and if they have any concerns in their neighborhood, any issues, it's a great opportunity to build those relationships with them as well. And then I would like to have an opportunity also, Mr. City Manager, with the chief as well, to address some of the concerns. I'd like to have an opportunity to address some of the concerns that we've been having as far as some of the crimes and the homicide that is happening in the city. It's a great concern to the residents. It's a great concern to me, specifically in one of the areas down in the south end of the city at Colony Park. I have a great concern. That's a really beautiful park there, great residents in that area, so specific to that area, but across their city. But I would like to have an opportunity to just have a conversation about that one specifically also. But other than that, thank you so much. Great work. Please keep it up, and let's keep the momentum going, and let's go San Bernardino.
Thank you, sir. Great report. Councilmember Ibarra, 2nd District.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Bienvenidos todos que están aquí de la comunidad que habla hispana. So next Thursday, we have two very important events happening in our city. One, my colleague, Councilwoman Calvin mentioned already, is the homeless count We do need the volunteers. I myself will be there Thursday, February 24th, 5 a.m. at the Seminole Stadium. Please come out and help us count our unsheltered homeless population of the city. Later that night, we're going to have a Muscopiabi Neighborhood Association virtual meeting. That will be at 6:30 p.m. For information on the Zoom link, contact phone number 951-237-3016, or you can email NAC for Neighborhood Association Council, SB for San Bernardino, CAL for California. So NAC, SB, CAL at gmail.com. The other items I wanted to point out, thank you, Mr. City Manager, for the updates. I do appreciate the power washing that's going on in the city. I look forward to seeing it expand throughout the whole city, because I know I have mentioned the condition that we are in right now, especially with continuous trash on the streets, and it's not appeasable to people to come visit our city. So thank you for working on these projects. Also, the updates on animal services, I'm going to translate this one in Spanish. Para nuestra comunidad, si gustan adoptar una mascota en nuestra ciudad, tenemos ahorita adopciones por solamente $25 de mascotas que tienen 5 meses para arriba. Eso ya incluye el pago de la adopción, el microchip por si se les pierde la mascota, vacunas y spay and neuter. Solamente con $25 pueden adoptar una mascota aquí de nuestro albergue de animales. I also want to commend the hard work that our police department is doing. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, for providing these updates. A lot of constituents are not aware of what's going on within our departments, so I appreciate these reports. You know, they found one suspect in 10 robberies. If you think about it, that was 10 different victims that they know of right now. One person did that. So our police is hard at work behind the scenes, things that we don't see. And that would be it for me. And I'm waiting to hear from the community. I welcome the passion that my new council member, especially Councilmember Reynoso, has on bringing back the warehouse moratorium. I was one of them that voted to also have the moratorium. And that is something that us as council members have to keep being persistent in fighting for our city and making sure that everybody's treated equally across the city. So I'm looking forward to that, supporting him in that fight in our city. And and the last thing I want to mention also, please get involved in the general plan meetings that are coming up. Por favor, vengan a las juntas del Plan General de la Ciudad. This is going to determine the future of our city. Esto va a determinar el futuro de nuestra ciudad. For the second ward, it's to be determined right now. I have some locations I will be providing to our city staff that I provided before, but because of the new boundaries the second ward has, I have to give them new locations. So definitely get involved. It's scheduled to be, we don't have a date yet, so I'm saying end of March maybe. So stay on the lookout. I'll post it on my Facebook account, Councilwoman Sandra Ibarra. Please be alert for when I find out information. I'll be posting it in there. And that would be it for me. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sanchez, Ted Sanchez of the 1st District, sir.
Yes, I want to announce the Downtown San Bernardino Art Walk. It's going to be this Friday, February 18th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll probably stay out past then. If you've been to any of these events, it's beautiful. It becomes a living room for the city. Everyone comes out. There's music, people hanging out. There's things to buy and sell. It's a wonderful atmosphere, and I'm really glad that we have that now. We can thank Chris Gonzalez, transplant from somewhere else, but from San Bernardino County. If you could please stand up. He doesn't usually like to take recognition for this, but he's done a very good job with this. So I appreciate you, and the council has shown support. We're throwing some resources and funding towards your projects, and we're really excited to have you with this new season. So that's all. I hope that most of you guys can make it out to this event. It's a beautiful event, and I'm sure if you've attended once, you'll attend again. It really is a positive experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, council members. I want to congratulate the City of San Bernardino and our Public Works Department. The City of San Bernardino recently approved the second phase of a 4-phase 53-street plan to repave and resurface streets and repair sidewalks throughout our city. The most recent contract was approved on February 2, just about 2 weeks ago, and was awarded to All American Asphalt in the amount of $4.7 million. It will encompass segments of 9 city streets in the city. Work on this phase will also include ADA accessible ramps, drainage, sidewalk installation, signage, and curb gutter improvements. They will begin later this month and should be completed by June of 22. I'll also recognize some of these streets. The streets that will be improved in this phase build out are King Street between K Street and Mount Vernon Avenue on Ward 1, Highland Avenue between 210 and 215 interchange in Lincoln in Ward 2, in Ward 3, K Street between Mill Street and Hillcrest Avenue, and Pumalo Street on Arden Avenue to Sterling, Churchill Street between Belmont Avenue and Olive Avenue in Ward 5, in Ward 6, Baseline Street between Medical Center and Mount Vernon Avenue, in Ward 7 between Golden Avenue to the end of the flood control on 28th Street. Parkdale Avenue will get some cleanup on Mountain View Avenue to Sierra Way, and then finally on Mill Street between Allen Street to G Street in Wards 1 and 3. I want to send my deep appreciation to Mr. Kishta. Our Public Works Improvement Plan is working, and we're excited about that. Mr. City Manager, thank you for your leadership and your continued focus on paving streets. Our city is desperately needing more and more streets. We have over 500 lane miles in the city to maintain, and we are really excited about this. So I want to send my deep appreciation to you, Alex, and your team, Robert Sepulveda, everybody there, and I remember my days as a councilman interacting with CIP plans, and it's a great opportunity for our city, and so let's show our appreciation to our Public Works team. Okay, very good. Let's move on to our public comments portion tonight's calendar. We have several individuals that will be speaking.
Mayor, we have the presentation first.
Ah, my bad. Let's go to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Inland Empire. Are you here, sir? I am. Wonderful. Come and join me at the podium there. This is Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Inland Empire. The recommendation is there before you, and we will turn it over to you.
Good evening. Thank you very much. And before I start, our condolences, Councilmember Calvin, Councilmember Reynoso. I'm here to talk about mentorship, and I've heard in different ways how important mentorship is to all of us, and we've all, one way or another, have benefited from having them. And I also want to acknowledge that we were on the calendar last month, and we had it on the wrong date, and there is nothing but pure embarrassment on our part, and I own that, and I apologize for that inconvenience that may have occurred to the city staff, the mayor, the council. But good evening, Mayor. Thank you, sir. City council members, members of the public, those that are here present, and those that joined us virtually. My name is Marvin Espinoza, and I am the Director of Programs and Community Partnerships at Big Brothers Big Sisters, serving San Bernardino and other communities in the Inland Empire, Riverside, and Orange County. So January honors National Mentoring Month, and we continue because that's what we do every day. We honor mentors and mentees and making aware the impact of mentoring on both the mentees and the mentors. It's also an invitation to all of us to become one. Many of our youth could benefit from having a mentor, and many youth have the opportunity also to be mentors to our elementary school age children. So it also serves as a reminder that we can indeed become mentors. What makes Big Brothers Big Sisters special is our one-to-one, and that we are youth-centered, volunteer-driven, and we operate under our JEDI framework, that is of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. The youth we serve face a myriad of environmental factors. 75% have witnessed and or experienced abuse. And over 70% of our youth live under the federal poverty level. We believe that one-to-one mentoring is the preventative solution to the opportunities and academic gap our youth in poverty face. We see ourselves as a bridge that connects a child to a larger social network and capital through having a mentor. And by engaging the greater community as mentors, we are changing neighborhoods, school districts, and cities for the better forever. All our mentoring program models are one-to-one and support the various needs of the youth while matching them with mentors from the community, corporations, law enforcement, college, and high school students. We are now in our second year of our commitment to support our youth post-18 through career, college, enlistment, and exploration. We are proud to serve San Bernardino and 20 other cities, mentoring over 2,500 youth, bringing back $3.1 million in volunteerism to our region annually. And specifically in San Bernardino, we have served over 450 students with a mentor and have impacted nearly 700 youth. We continue to do good things in San Bernardino with our partnerships to support young people. We're making a double impact by empowering high school students mentees with a first-generation college student mentor, building the next future leaders and supporting At Promise elementary youth through our High School Bigs program, and support middle school girls impacted by domestic violence with strong female role models. Our work at Big Brothers Big Sisters is evidence-based and has been recognized by the World Bank, the Center for Disease Control, the U.S. Department of Education's Institute of Education Sciences, and the Boston Consulting Group. Noted that for every $1 donated to our local Big Brothers Big Sisters, $18 is returned back to our local community through measurable impact. This past year, even through a pandemic that we all have been through, we had 98% of our youth graduate on time, with 43% to be the first in their family with a high school diploma, and 67% the first to go to college. And we and their mentors, and I invite you all to be part of this, to commit to supporting them into their future at community colleges, UC, Cal State, military, and trade. So in honor of National Mentoring Month, I would be remiss if I did not show that our community can join our village. We are bigger together, and I encourage our community to sign up as a mentor with us, to donate to support our increased mentorship impact, and thank the city for being a partner and champion for mentorship and youth, and invite the audience to visit our website to learn more, to become involved. There's a youth on the other end that's waiting for someone to inspire them, to guide them, to give them that extra push that many of us perhaps didn't have as young children or youth. And if you have the time to make that commitment, it certainly will go a long way, because it will change the life of a youth, a child, and could help that individual reach their full potential. I appreciate the time and space, and good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Espinosa, thank you very much for the presentation. What a great opportunity for our community to partner with Big Brothers, and we salute you, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, your organization, and for the impacts you make on our children, our community, our youth, and we want to encourage and support that. So thank you for being here tonight, sir, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate the space. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. At this time, we will then proceed on to our public, I'm sorry, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, just a couple of brief notes. There was a presentation originally scheduled as item 2. It's being continued off to a date to be determined. We alerted you by that to that fact by email a while back, but just want to make sure we made that statement publicly. Also, we are going to need to make a clarification on item 16 of tonight's agenda on page 396. Attachment B, the grant inadvertently included the name of the former 5th Ward councilman, Henry Nickel. It's been we're correcting that, Councilman Reynoso, to reflect that you are the Ward 5 councilman. Our apologies.
Okay, so noted. Thank you very much. We will then move on to our public comments tonight. I'm going to encourage the audience, please. We have 2 speaker podiums. And when you're done, please, can you shut off the mic? It's a big button right in the middle of the microphone there once you've completed your statement to the council. And that'll help us with the reverb. Guarantee you, please help us. So we'll go ahead and call people up, and I'm going to ask, we'll go 3 back so we can have members of the public on deck and ready to go. And we encourage your participation. We thank you. In-person comments will be heard first, followed by remote public comments. If you're speaking remotely, we ask that you please use the raise your hand feature to request to speak during the public comment portion of tonight's meeting. Please mute any devices that provide feedback while speaking and log off the Zoom session immediately after you speak. At the end of the verbal comments, our city clerks will read those written comments for the ADA accommodation. Okay, let's begin tonight's speakers. Paula Plunk, Bill Blankenship, Catherine Lopez, Darby Osnaya, and Robert Porter. Paula Plunk, Bill Blankenship, Catherine Lopez, Darby Osnaya, and Robert Porter. Ms. Plunk, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Ms. Calvin and Mr. Field, I'll address you. Community, this is your trigger warning. The current shooting spree over the weekend took the life of a 15-year-old boy. So everyone, as they say, enough is enough. Mr. Field and C.W. Calvin, please provide this grieving community, this angry community, the acceptable number of children that you all are willing to sacrifice to protect, yes, protect, this silent, absent community policing management. All the while, again, on Instagram, a smiling, unaffected IPC Green, standing for photo ops and giving out stuff that ends up in junk drawers. Stickers are way more important than keeping their children alive. C.W. Calvin, the community is looking for humanity wrapped in compassion. They are given ego, insults, and backlash. C.W. Calvin, your heart and honesty was felt at the recent school board meeting, where you spoke about young scholars shooting for their stars, and trust was way more important in that success. How is that possible, C.W. Calvin, when the young scholars are shot and murdered in their front yards and those looking for answers are met with silence from council, city management, and the SBPD? That decision, C.W. Calvin, is predatory in nature. Maybe the silence from the PD management is because the buzzword in the department is feeling unappreciated. Is that from the victim or the victim families that the SBPD and their supporters are ranting and mocking about? C.W. Calvin, you have stated you understand your assignment representing the council. I am asking you right now, I'm holding you to that. Please direct staff and Mr. Field to call an emergency meeting to provide a transparent, open dialogue with the SBT management, which will include reports, REPORTS, and review the value of IPC Green under this current shooting spree. Community policing plus 76 gangs minus a gang task force equals dead children on his interim watch. Mr. Alexander, what are you playing at? Announcing your candidacy for mayor in your church? Well, questionable your no vote has become from the last meeting where the censured mayor used his veto power. So a no vote because you're above the rules, laws, and regulations set in place for a true democracy to happen? Okay, check that box, Marine. Hashtag broken trust. Residents, do not give to lazy, absent, illegal, ego-based governing anymore. Vote out CM Ward 1, CM Ward 2, censured Mayor John Valdivia, and say no to shady Damian Alexander. Be your children's shining star. Vote June 2022.
Thank you. Bill Blankenship, followed by Catherine Lopez, followed by Darby Onaya, Robert Porter. Bill Blankenship, sir.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to speak on item 23, which is regarding the warehouse moratorium. My name is Bill Blankenship. I'm the Governmental Affairs Director for NAIOP Inland Empire Chapter. The association represents the supply chain and goods movement industry, which is responsible for a total workforce of 230,008 jobs in the Inland Empire. And in the last decade, the industry has added over 95,750 jobs, or 23.67% of all jobs created in the Inland Empire. The goods movement industry is only successful if it has a strong network of local facilities located in each of our communities. The Inland Empire is a critical pathway for the goods movement industry. Over 60% of San Bernardino City's top property taxpayers are in the logistics industry, and this provides stable revenue for the city. Smart development policies will help ensure that the industry pays its fair share without disturbing the job growth that has put so many San Bernardino residents to work. And the industry routinely develops its critical infrastructure beyond their project's footprint, which is an additional benefit to the community. Just over 6 months ago, we made multiple offers to work with your planning staff and planning team to create a new ordinance, one without disruption that would not threaten future investment and employment opportunities in the city. We sincerely want to help achieve the highest development standards, attract world-class development and businesses, and retain control over the types of projects that are built in your area. With our urging, the city rely on its established planning process to judge current projects and future projects for approval. You already have the authority to guide local development, which will ensure a better plan for the future in your city without the need for a moratorium. Thank you for your consideration this evening and the opportunity to testify on behalf of NAIOP Inland Empire. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker, I'm sorry, public, you just refrain, please. Catherine Lopez, followed by Darby Osnaya, Robert Porter. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, City Council members. My name is Catherine Lopez. I'm a resident of Ward 6. As a resident of Ward 6, I am thankful that I have a councilwoman who puts her constituents' best interest and at first and votes the way that her constituents want her to, and that she listens to us. I am here in support of the warehouse moratorium. As a lifelong resident of San Bernardino, I have seen what this city has gone through over the last few decades. I'm a firm believer of environmental and social justice, and as a fighter for that, when I drive around these streets, I know that we have a long way to go. I'm a member of two great organizations in this area, IEDSA and the San Bernardino Airport Communities. I've canvassed and phone banked for both of those groups, and more recently, I've phone banked for the airport communities. In favor of the warehouse moratorium, we've directed our calls to Ward 3 and Ward 4 constituents. It's very disappointing and disheartening to hear the residents of those wards say that they are in favor of that, yet their council people do not vote in favor of it, so I don't know whose best interest they're looking out for. In the near future, I will be phone banking for somebody in this audience, Christian Shaughnessy, who is running for 4th Ward. He is in favor of the warehouse moratorium, and I look forward to beating the current Ward 4 person. So thank you.
Okay, Darby Osnaya, followed by Robert Porter, Harry Hatch, Russell Degnan, and Elba, sorry, I can't read your writing. I think Elba Cordelba. Darby, sir.
Hello, good evening, City Council. Well, thank you for giving us this time to listen to us. I'm here in support of the warehouse moratorium. For far too long, I've been living with just this dirty air, we already know, and y'all just spoke about it. Thank you for those up here who are going to fight for this warehouse moratorium. For far too long, community has been silent, has not been listened to or silenced, as Oprah once said. And it's just done. We're done. We're done with industry scum coming up in here. We're not going to be able to breathe in dollars when all the good air is done. We're not going to be able to, drink dollar. We can't. We already know. We need Earth. We need Earth for us. Earth don't need us. So we need to take care of what little we have so that we can have, take care and look out for the next 7 generations. I jumped into this, but I do want to acknowledge that we are on Yuhaviatam land that has been stolen and colonized. I see that y'all love putting the colonizers, information up there. So thank you for acknowledging that it's colonized, but maybe acknowledge that it's on Yuhaviatam stolen land. Y'all call them the Samanoa Band of Mission Indians. But yes, please let's think for the future. Let's use this moratorium. Colton and Chino are doing it, are some of our nearby neighbors. But the moratorium is to think what we can do better, what we can do in infrastructure. We bring warehouses, and what do? They bring trucks that destroy our streets that were already not that great to begin with. And we're here talking about street cleanup. What's the point of cleaning up a street if it's going to have a bunch of potholes? What's the point of doing all that? What's the point of having industry come here to create jobs if most of the people who work those jobs, if not all those people, are underpaid, overworked, under-resourced, and still having to use government aid to help them? And especially when government is aiding these warehouses to be built. So it's just, who's the real welfare queen there, even though that's a horrible racist myth, but still. We know who are the people who are sucking the government and the community dry. It's not community here. Everybody here is a hard worker. Everybody here is here to look out for y'all, look out for our family, look out for, to respect our elders who didn't go down without a fight. And please, we're looking out for your lungs. We're not trying to be selfish here. Asking for clean air is, and there's been the link with the warehouses and bad air and pollution in general. So just take a look into that, put a pause so that we can get all the science and all the paperwork and all the red tape that you need for, the white man's rules to abide by. But please respect the moratorium so that we can look into what we can do to be better, clean up, and make San Bernardino the city that people who are still alive can remember that it once was, or remember their grandparents talking about what it once was. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Robert Porter, followed by Harry Hatch, followed by Russell Degnan and Elba, and Dolores Armstead. Mr. Porter, welcome. Recognized for 3 minutes.
Mayor, council, good people. I took a couple of meetings off. I had to take a break, team. Gets kind of tedious watching the wheels move so slowly, but they do move. They do move. I'm also a commissioner on the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission, which is cool, but I kind of feel like sometimes we're just like fluff and no one pays attention to us. And this is one of the reasons why. I got this information from a local historian from the Historical Society. So go ahead and take a listen. You guys all might want to hear this too. 1928 church demolition. This church was mentioned in Alice Hall's book about Valley Farms. St. Mark's Church, located at 259 East Central Avenue. The current property owners are very interested in selling the church and relocating. The development company called Vantage Capital Partners will tear it down to build an industrial structure. I heard that David Sherrod said that it would blend in with what's in the surrounding area. Historical preservation is hard to do, and I just wanted to share with all of you who care what's happening. I always want to protect history, many do. I also want new stuff, and the trade is probably a new warehouse for a 1928 church. What should be done, if anything? Well, that's up to you all. It's not just up to me. It's not just, well, they don't even tell our commission, right? So I have to find out through like side routes what's going on in the city with our historical buildings. And I'm a commissioner on the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like we're there so you guys can look good or say that you sent the information or we have this here, this committee, but like, you don't send us the stuff we need to do, right? So you don't give us grant money to give out to the arts. You didn't give us, you know, the information for this church that's getting destroyed. I mean, if the property owner wants to sell it, more than likely that thing's going to get sold. And if you want another warehouse, well, I guess. But, you know, we got to decide what's priorities in our city here. We do got good things, and things are moving forward. I know there's some super negative people here, but I just want to would you please not heckle every single person that comes up here? Thank you very much. It's my turn to speak. I just want to say thank you all for working hard. I know you do, and some things just kind of, you know, fall through the cracks, but maybe we can make an effort not to do that anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Harry Hatch, followed by Russell Degnan, Elba Cordelba, Doris Almstead, and Elia Ramirez. Mr. Hatch, welcome. If we could get those other members, if I called your name, please, on the wall, please. Thank you. Mr. Hatch, welcome.
Thank you. Harry Hatch, Ward 7, resident. Council, Mr. Mayor, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, is a part of the preamble of the Constitution of the United States. One of the basic principles of the Constitution of the United States is the vote. It is our right as citizens of this city to vote on issues that we have elected you to bring forth. 4 members of our council brought forth a legitimate reason to go onto the ballot the mayor's situation. That was vetoed by the mayor. We, the people, desire a vote. We, the people, are the people who need to vote. Please, please allow that vote to be overturned tonight. All of you know what I'm talking about. I apologize for bringing this up right now. I know there are things that are going on that are probably more important, but to me, there's nothing more important than the right of the people of this country to vote. Now then, let's talk about fireworks. I understand that this may be coming back in the next couple of meetings. Now, I want to brief you just one thing, that you do have before you, in your mailboxes somewhere, the copy of the rewrite of the ordinance that was done. If you would just take a moment to look at it. There are only 18 changes, but they give our enforcement personnel the ability to enforce the state regulations under the municipal code so that you can get your administrative penalties. Think about it, look at it, please look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Russell Degnan, Alba Cordero, Dolores Elistad, Mary Carmen, Alondra Mateo. Mr. Degnan, good to see you. Welcome.
There we go. All right. Thank you for this time, Mayor and council members. I first want to thank our Councilwoman Kim Calvin for the visit and the tour to our Youth Opportunity Center. I represent Operation New Hope. I'm the CEO. I found out, Mr. Alexander, I was happy to meet you, but it struck made me recognize I need to come here and represent and share more about the youth program. I do know that we don't see the changes in the perfect world in San Bernardino City, but there are definitely positive movement happening here in the city of San Bernardino. I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm here to represent and share out the Youth Reinvestment Program that this is your city's Youth Reinvestment Program. Thank you, City Manager Field. But I do have to give a shout out to Mr. Moran Miranda. He is the director and oversees the contractors for the VIP program and the Youth Reinvestment Program. And I just want to share some report of some positive things that happen here. The Youth Reinvestment Program is a diversion program with the goal of kind of focusing on the lower risk and medium risk youth so they don't penetrate and become high risk youth and fall into the justice system. In 2.5 years, 267 youth have completed our 14-week program that's attending cognitive life skills every week. They are also completing youth restorative justice programs. Every week we distribute a minimum of 500 families groceries every week, and that's with youth volunteers from the city of San Bernardino. We've collected over 2 tons of trash, so we are being a part of that. That was done with Public Works as well. We've completed a couple of mural projects. We support the arts as well. And I know I'm coming to a wrap. You will see Operation New Hope here regularly. I am the CEO, but I'm going to have my staff and successful students starting to share and update you guys of the great work that is happening in the city of San Bernardino. In the last 2.5 years, we just completed a state monitoring visit with Mr. Miranda taking the lead. 84% of our youth have reduced overall risk, 74% improved mental health, 35% improved substance abuse, 91% positive youth development, 91% positive restorative justice impact, 91% improved educational outcomes, 74% improved vocational outcomes, 21% improved housing. Yes, we do have a lot of homeless youth, and 94% of our youth have not landed into the justice system. So thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Elba, followed by Dolores Armstead, followed by Elia Ramirez. Elba, welcome.
Yeah. You're good, Mayor. I will be actually translating for Dolores.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Elba Cordova. Yo vengo apoyando a la limpieza, porque aquí yo vivo cerca del City Hall, como unos 3-5 minutos, y pues yo veo que hay muchos semai aquí muy cerquitas, atrás de mi casa.
Hello, my name is Elba Cordova. I live in the city of San Bernardino. I actually come here in support tonight for the moratorium for the clean air. I live off of D Street, and there's a lot of trucks behind my house that come, and I see all the dirty air.
Hay veces que van y lavan los motores de los semai.
There's times that I have seen some of the semis being power washed.
Y dejan llantas, todo muy sucio. Entonces yo digo, pues sí a la limpieza en San Bernardino, y pues de corazón quisiera que aire limpio para todos nosotros.
They live their tires, they live all their dirty water. So I'm here in support for, the clean air and, to have San Bernardino, a beautiful San Bernardino once again.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Dolores Armstead, followed by Elia Ramirez and Marie Carmen. Ms. Armstead?
First, I'd like to address item number 5, the changes to public hearing notification, which was desperately needed. For example, recently the railroad requested an expansion for the San Bernardino yard, which would have taken portions of people's properties. They expected to receive immediate approval, as in the past, but we didn't let it happen. The commission asked if the residents had been notified and were informed. Letters were sent to residents within 500 feet, all in English and all in legalese. At the meeting, the first meeting, several residents attended and explained the history of the neighborhood and what the disruption that the expansion would cause to them. We were told there was no public outreach, and only the owners were notified, not the tenants. Most of the owners are absentee. As you know, San Bernardino has a lot of absentee owners. The amendments to the public meeting notifications increases the notifications to 1,000 feet of whatever the project is, requires public meetings in English and in Spanish to owners and tenants, businesses, and residentials. This is one example of a past injustice to our residents that is being addressed. We applaud the planning departments for recommending these amendments. More needs to be done, and it also shows that we are paying attention to what's going on in our city. Because of the interactions with the commission, we got a lot of adjustments from the railroad for our citizens. More needs to be done, but we sure appreciate what the planning department has done. I am again my next item, I'm again advocating for staffing assistance for our council members. People don't realize that we have a population of more than 200,000, and each ward is responsible for 30,000 residents responding to them. Answering calls, addressing issues, writing policies, attending events with no assistance. Several council people actually have jobs or businesses that they run. They take care of those full-time jobs, and being a council member is a full-time job. They need help. So we are, or I'm advocating that during your next budget hearings that you hire one assigned person per council office to help them. One dedicated to that office. They need help. With that help, they can serve us better. So it's actually a win-win for them and for us as constituents. Then my next question is real quick. What about City Hall? What are we doing with City Hall? I see my tax dollars going nowhere. When are we going to take care of City Hall? It's really important. We need to see something happen. Thank you.
Ms. Armstead, I don't know if you heard my mutter, but my mutter was, tell me about it on City Hall. Let's have coffee on that one. Ms. Ramirez, welcome, bienvenido.
Gracias.
Pásale.
Good morning, City Council members. My name is Elia Ramirez. I live in San Bernardino. Yo les quiero nada más decir que he vivido aquí por 45 años y este San Bernardino era tan hermoso, todo limpio, las calles, los negocios, todo abierto. Yo siempre me da nostalgia que ya no está igual. Y no necesitamos tantos warehouse acá. Necesitamos buenos negocios para los muchachos jóvenes que están, se meten en drogas por agarrar dinero fácil.
I just want to tell you, I have lived here in San Bernardino for 45 years. San Bernardino, what it was before, it was beautiful. San Bernardino was something to be glad to live here. I have lived here for 45 years. Now that I see the city is not what it was before. The youth needs jobs that are good jobs, something to live for. We don't need any more warehouses. We need good jobs, good paying jobs for our future generations. That's why they actually live and they get into drugs. They become homeless. That's why we need good jobs, and we don't need any more warehouse in our cities. And please pass the moratorium.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Marie Carmen, followed by Alondra Mateo, Jose Jimenez, Helen Tran, and James Penman. Marie, welcome. Is that you? Welcome.
Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Mari Carmen González. Soy residente de San Bernardino desde hace 16 años.
Good evening, Council. I am Mari Carmen. I am a resident of San Bernardino for the past 16 years.
Los residentes de San Bernardino nos estamos uniendo para exigir sí a la moratoria, ya que miles de camiones diésel que pasan por nuestras calles contribuyen a la contaminación, a la peor contaminación del aire. En este país, que tenemos la peor contaminación en este país. nos está dañando los pulmones, nos está dañando nuestra salud, reduciendo la calidad de vida en mi comunidad, ya que familiares y vecinos se están enfermando más de asma. Por eso necesitamos en la ciudad buenos trabajos, aire limpio. Si Colton y Chino aprobó recientemente la moratoria de almacenamiento, ¿por qué San Bernardino no? San Francisco también. Yo amo a San Bernardino, pero ¿qué voy a presumir de San Bernardino? ¿Quieres hacer?
Okay. The residents of San Bernardino, we are tired, and we are here to ask and demand a moratorium. We ask that all those miles of diesel trucks that are passing through our streets and all the construction and all the contamination for the worst quality of air in this country is here in San Bernardino. Our lungs are tired breathing that air. They are damaged. They actually reduce our quality of life in our community, in our youth, and in our older generations as well. Our families, our neighbors are sick from asthma, and they need good jobs and clean air. If Colton and Chino approve a recent moratoriums, as well as San Francisco, why can't San Bernardino give that? Vote yes on that moratorium.
Quiero 3 minutos porque ya se me fue.
No, ya está todo.
¿Ya está?
Okay. Sí, sigue.
Ok. Entonces, ¿qué voy a presumir de San Bernardino si está lleno de almacenes, lleno de contaminación, lleno de basura? Por eso, votemos sí a la moratoria.
What am I going to say about San Bernardino? What good things am I going to talk about San Bernardino when there is nothing to talk besides, the fact that there's no clean air and there's a lot of warehouse? That's why I want for you to say yes to the moratorium.
Gracias. Buenas noches.
Next, we have Alondra Mateo, followed by Jose Jimenez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alondra Mateo, and I live in Highland. For too long, warehouses have been built and grown exponentially right in our backyard without community input. Thousands of diesel trucks passing through our streets contribute to the worst air quality in the country and affect our community by damaging our health and the roads. The businesses in San Bernardino should contribute to our community, not hurt it. Also, a majority of the jobs that our community can find are warehouse jobs, which have a high turnover rate, high injury rates, and not such good pay. My family members have to drive over an hour every day to get to their decent jobs. They shouldn't have to do this. We deserve good quality, high-paying, safe jobs here in San Bernardino. I urge you to pass a warehouse moratorium and listen to our community. Colton and Chino have passed warehouse moratoriums recently. Why shouldn't San Bernardino do the same? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jose Jimenez, followed by Helen Tran. Mr. Jimenez.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jose Jimenez, and I am a concerned member of this community. Being from San Bernardino, born and raised, I am alarmed like so many in my community and in this room at the rate at which these warehouses are being built and threatening our way of life here in San Bernardino. Not only are these warehouses worsening our already crumbling public road system, they've worsened the air quality in our city that already ranks near the bottom in California. It is with these considerations that I urge you, the members of the council, to consider the exploiting jobs and wages that come with warehouses like Amazon, but especially the negative environmental impact and physical dangers brought on by unregulated warehouse development. I urge you to vote yes on the warehouse moratorium for all the community of San Bernardino and put the health and safety of us, your constituents, first. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will have Helen Tran, followed by James Penman, followed by Marisol Alvarez. Helen Tran.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff, members of the public. I also want to express my condolences to Councilmember Calvin and Reynoso. Sorry about your condolences, your loss. My name is Helen Tran, and I'm a 33-year resident in San Bernardino. I live in the 5th Ward with my husband and 3 children. I want to take a moment to say thank you to those on the dais. Why? Because you have a very tough job leading this very complex city. We all know where there's lacking leadership. And we know that in this upcoming election on June 7th, we voters have an opportunity to vote and elect your next leadership, the right leadership. In the meantime, please remind yourselves as to why. Why are you in that seat? More than ever, our city needs leaders who lead with wholeheartedness. Finding solutions collaboratively to fix the issues in our city. You are not alone. The willingness to rumble through the vulnerabilities, to address and to solve the greatest needs of our city. And that's not by shaming. That is not by blaming, which creates zero progress in our city. Item number 3 on the agenda before you tonight. I know there's a veto, but there's a proposed ballot to eliminate your elected mayor. Why? Why are we considering to remove the voters' right to vote their elected mayor, which we have done for over 100 years in the city? This is a very large size city, over 200,000 residents. Is it due to the current leadership? I did a quick survey of cities' population of 250,000 and below. Looked at the 10 cities, and we are number 4 on that list.
Thank you, Ms.
One of the 10 has a rotational
Ms. Tran,
mayor.
your time is up.
3 of the 10
Thank you, Ms. Tran.
is in the city, county of San Bernardino,
Ms. Tran,
and are elected.
thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is James Penman, followed by Marisol Alvarez and Judith Baez. Jim Penman, Marisol Alvarez, and Judith Baez.
Jim Penman, 221 East Marshall Boulevard, San Bernardino. I want to join adding my condolences to the Reynoso and Calvin families. San Bernardino is still a great city. We have a lot of problems, and we've heard about some of them tonight. We're going to continue to hear about them, but our best days are not behind us. Our best days are in front of us. We are going to improve this city. We are going to fix the problems that either Ms. Tran or I are going to inherit as your next mayor. We have the perfect location here. We can get to the beach, we can get to the mountains, we can get to the desert, we can get to Disneyland. We could have got there quicker if it was here. We were on the short list once, but it didn't happen. San Bernardino is a great community. We are going to fix this warehouse problem. It is wrong to have a group like Amazon paid minimum wages to our youth and others and treating them the way they treat them. There's no excuse for that. None. I'm pleased to be here tonight, and I'm pleased to see all of you. I know I've been critical of some of your decisions, but you do have a tough job, and I've seen it firsthand. I've had the advantage of working with 5 different mayors. I've seen what works, and I've seen what doesn't work. And there are a lot of things that work that we're not doing. And I can tell you that regardless of what you vote to do tonight, the next mayor of San Bernardino is going to be elected at large by the people of this town. They are not going to give up their right to elect their last publicly elected citywide official. And whoever that person is going to be, they are going to bring this city not backwards, but forwards to the benefit of everybody in San Bernardino. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Penman. Marisol Alvarez, followed by our former mayor, Judith Baez. Marisol?
Good evening. My name is Marisol Alvarez, and I am very grateful to be here. As a resident of San Bernardino, my concern for the current state of my city compels me to speak up. My comments tonight will be directed first to the mayor and then to the people of San Bernardino. Mr. Valdivia, you may not remember me, but I remember you. During your mayoral campaign, you visited my church and shared your vision for San Bernardino. You piqued my interest, so I reached out to you after the service and asked you if you would give me 15 minutes of your time. I was in the process of launching a nonprofit that would work with at-risk youth in the community, and I thought that your input would be valuable. You very graciously offered me your cell phone number, and you said I could reach out to you anytime, which I did the very next day. Understandably, you replied and said that you were very busy with the campaign and asked if we could meet after the election. In the meantime, I did my research and ran across a document attached to your city council profile where you penciled in a note suggesting that rather than reduce street sweeping in less days in order to save money, the city should do away with it altogether. Immediately, I knew you were not a candidate that aligned with my vision for San Bernardino. So I decided that I would not be influenced by your outward commitment to my faith or by the fact that you and I are of the same ethnicity. Important to me were common core values, which at that point I realized you and I did not have. Needless to say, I was sad but not surprised that after you became mayor, my attempts to reach you went unanswered. Today it is rumored that you have disappointed many people who voted for you, and although I'm not one of them, I can understand their concerns. A person who does not honor his or her word is, by definition, a person who lacks integrity. And integrity is an essential qualification for any good leader. Why is that important today? Because the people of San Bernardino should be aware that a claim to a particular faith or the color of a person's skin does not determine whether that person's values are in line with our own. Tonight, in honor of Black History Month and in remembrance of the legendary Reverend Martin Luther King, I would like to invite everyone to consider what he dreamed of. He hoped for a day when a person would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And it is for this reason that I have put my full support for Jim Penman for mayor. Mr. Jim Penman has faithfully served this city for decades, and the more I get to know him and to meet his longtime friends and supporters, I am confident that he is qualified to lead this city. I don't care whether his skin color is different than mine or that we are from different walks of life. I care that he is a man of principles and that his principles are in line with mine. I care about his track record and what it says about him and his commitment to protect the best interest of the residents of San Bernardino. Please, if you are listening, take the time to research your candidates. Make sure you know what stances they have taken in the past and who they really are before giving them your vote. Don't be misled by basic rhetoric and reverse discrimination when you choose a candidate to lead us. The future of our city depends on our ability to vote wisely. Find out for yourself what I already know and go to Jim Penman for mayor and learn why Jim Penman is the positive change that San Bernardino so desperately needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Judith Baez. Great to see you, Ms. Baez. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank all of you for the work that you do, because it's a tough road to hoe. But I'll be very brief in my comments. I am here specifically to urge you to vote against the proposition to select a mayor from among the council members. That would do a disservice to the city of San Bernardino, which is the county seat. I need to share with you my experiences. When I was mayor many years ago, never have been a mayor, so I was in Washington, D.C., learning what a mayor was supposed to do. What I learned there was invaluable, and I want to share that lesson with all of you so you understand why my commitment to having a strong mayor form of government is critical to the continued success of this city, which has had some problems. But when I was in Washington, okay, who are the first-time mayors? Raise your hand. Go into a little room. How many of you are the CEOs of your city? Raise my hand. That was a smaller group. Most of them were elected by council people, but that small group went into another room. And we were introduced to all the secretaries of the different departments. I was privileged to have met the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. At the time, San Bernardino needed money for new housing. Our housing was dilapidating, and we needed an infusion of funds. I met with the Secretary of Housing and Transportation because I was a strong mayor form of government. He came to the city, traveled the city with me, and we received, the city, a large sum of housing dollars that refurbished and created many new homes in the city. All those homes along 2nd Street and along where the lakes and streams was going to be. But that only took place because the mayor of the city was recognized as a strong mayor form of government and not taking turns as mayors every year. That diminishes the value of the city as the county seat. It is a large city and one of the largest counties within the United States. Do not diminish that importance. Value the city and bring it back to what it used to be, the all-American city. It can be that again, but it needs a strong mayor elected by the people, not taking turns as council people. And I was saddened when I saw one of the council meetings and the jobs of a mayor were discussed. Well, I was mayor, I shook hands and we opened this building, I cut a ribbon, and I was the mayor for a day. Hey, whoopee, that's not what a mayor does, that's part of it. That's this much of it. The mayor is a spokesperson for the city, to the state, to the county, and to the federal government. You must meet one-on-one.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's what we must do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speakers, bear with us, folks. We have about 4 more here and then some online. So Frank Audi, Orlando Garcia, Delshawn McClellan, Jeffrey Scott, and Treasurer Ortiz. Frank Audi, sir, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I have, allow me please to share a story with you. That was the first time I was voting for president. It was for Mr. Carter, and he lost. So I appreciate what he did after he lost. He said, now I'm moving from the presidency to a higher role, which is a citizen of the United States. And San Bernardino, I think the equation is a little bit different. You know, we are in the bottom, the police, the gangsters on top of us, the police on top of the gangsters, and the city administration is getting us a little help. Justice delayed is justice denied. We have been asking for justice for a long time, 3 years is a long time. Our problem is not personal. Our problem is like maybe more common than the place where we are in. It's for other places, which they call the homeowner associations. Our loss is not peanuts. We lost over $75,000 in 3 years. Our problem now is for a report that was written by an officer in a haste, and we're asking them so many times to take another look in the light of the results that come from the city planning department and the fire marshal for the county. Please help us. We need your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Orlando Garcia, Delshawn McClellan, and Jeffrey Scott.
Good evening, City Council and members of the community. My name is Orlando Garcia. I'm a resident of the city of San Bernardino, proud resident of Vermont Heights and Ward 5 here. Tonight, I'm here to talk about the moratorium. I think halting any type of work is halting jobs. I'm here to oppose the moratorium. I believe we need to continue on building. We have a big plan. We have a big plan on building this city with the general plan, the downtown plan, moratorium. I feel like if anybody needs work, if our people need work, it's no secret that people of San Bernardino need the work. I believe we need to elevate the standards of these type of jobs. We need to build a skilled and trained workforce to this community. We talk about low and paying jobs. Let's get a state-approved apprenticeship to build these jobs. I'm part of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters as well. Just in the city, it's probably not known, we have about 1,000 members, okay, in the city of San Bernardino. A lot of them are traveling out of this area to go spend their money and earn money elsewhere in other cities. These are the jobs that are needed for the city of San Bernardino. And I sit there and think about it. What are we going to build there? More non-affordable houses? I think we need to focus on what we're doing here and elevate these things and stop the moratorium, because stopping these jobs is gonna stop people from working. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Delshawn McClellan, followed by Jeffrey Scott and Treasurer Teese. Sir?
Good evening, everyone. And my condolences to you, Ben and Kimberly. Sorry for your loss. But like my partner was saying, we represent 5,800 members in San Bernardino County alone, and we are for growth. I mean, if our members can't build, they can't eat at the end of the day. Community wealth is what it should be about: the jobs, the wages, and the benefits. If this moratorium passes, you are stopping growth through your community. I urge you to just think about that. This community needs more good-paying jobs, sustainable jobs, to where the community can have a little bit of community wealth. Just think about that for a while. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Scott, followed by Treasurer Teese. Welcome.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to send my condolences to council members Calvin and Reynoso. From my sincerest heart, my grandfather, who started our family living in the city of San Bernardino in 1964. Him and my grandfather were my cornerstones of my life, and I couldn't imagine my life without my father. So the fact that you're here today is testament to your character, and it's probably more than I would be able to do. I'm definitely nervous sitting right here. But I just want to say, first and foremost, my family has been in Ward 6 since 1964. This community is all I've ever known. This is all I've grown up. I remember when they put the 210 freeway in there. I'm still living with chain link fence where people can come by and see the backside of my house right now. When I go home tonight, I'm going to have some homeless encampments on the other side of the freeway. I look at the 210 right there on Washington Street. And as the city chases some of this homelessness around, they get in where they fit in, right? So I have to go home and see 3 trailers in front of my house. And luckily, they're very cool people. They're just very unfortunate from their circumstances. But it leads me to my point today. I actually am a representative of the Southwest Carpenters, and my sole job is to do outreach for the community and get students that are in these CTE programs into, I don't like the term livable wage, but mortgage-paying jobs, something that they can provide a career. In construction, our career isn't one job, it's multiple jobs. These warehouses that, you know, they have their pros and cons, and they're not perfect by any means, and I'm not saying that. There's a lot of brothers and sisters here from other trades that have their issues with them. But with us, with the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, they're putting our apprentices to work. They're creating opportunities. When I go to the Job Corps in San Bernardino or the PAL Center in San Bernardino and say, hey, what you're doing matters. I'm going to be able to help you, connect you with a contractor that's in your community. That is the most important thing to them, right? Because they may not know where their next meal is coming from. They might not have a home. I work with a lot of them over at the PAL Center that this is their last chance. In a partnership that the PAL Center has with the Youth Build program, part of their program is to build houses or small 8x10 structures for homelessness in the city of Highland that they have properties that they're doing with. So while I agree that there are a lot of issues with these warehouses, they're not perfect, and nothing in life ever is. I think a moratorium at this point in time would set us back so far that all of the progress is lost. Sometimes momentum is hard to get back. I think we can work through some of these differences that we see out here in a productive manner. So I do oppose, but I hope with my sincere heart that you can count on us to be an advocate for whatever it is to create better jobs, wages, and benefits.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Ms. Ortiz. Ms. Ortiz.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's nice to see a lot of first-time speakers stand up here tonight in support of the community now that it's election season. But for those who have been here, who have been fighting since the mayor decided to throw a midnight meeting to bring in warehousing into this community without any environmental impact report, we're still fighting. And that's why they're asking for a moratorium. And it's really suspicious that public comment stopped at 7 o'clock tonight when every meeting I've been allowed to attend has been open till 7:30, because you want to silence the voices you don't want to hear. And that has been sustainable. In the supply chain, we absolutely understand that not all unions are created equal. Yes, absolutely, the trades are a part of the portion that builds. But the other part, the warehouse workers, they are not making the wage to live. They are not in the conditions to have health care provided for their families, to be able to sustain themselves beyond part-time. And that is something that is endemic of council people who take money from these companies who do not care. And the people who build warehouses, I'll bet you 10 to 1 their children don't work in them either. So let's talk about how they're affected here. There are so many issues that are a part of this community that need to be addressed simultaneously, because in the same moment that we're talking about the livelihoods of people who are alive, we had 4 people murdered in 2 days, and one was a 15-year-old child from a high school in our community. 2 people were murdered by an 18-year-old, a part of our community, and yet we have no gang task force. Yes, we have 76 gangs in this community. $81 million a year in our taxpayer funds go to the salary and benefits of PD. Yet we can't get people to our house when we call 911. You can tow our cars and you can go to Home Depot, but you cannot protect us. The mayor can sit here and ask for hundreds of thousands of dollars for his sexual harassment lawsuits, but we can't get $50,000 to be able to vote whether we want an elected or appointed mayor. I don't care what your political preference is or what you're running for, but stopping people to have the right to vote in a democratic process in this America is absolutely unconstitutional. You serve your interests. You don't serve anybody here. And that has been the problem. San Bernardino is not worn out. San Bernardino is tired of the way. And I'll tell you what, running back to our exes and asking for a new relationship is not the future of this city. We do have better days. We have great years because we are not going back. We are not going to be 80 years old talking about the good old days of San Bernardino. We are going to have children and grandchildren who have prospered because we have had 44 years of economic decline. We have 2 generations who have never seen clean streets, safe streets, lit streets, and paved streets, and that ends tonight. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. City Clerk, let's go ahead and go to our online our online comments.
Gabriel Jaramillo, please unmute your mic and address the council. You have 3 minutes.
Miss City Clerk, can you hear me?
You sound a bit muffled.
How's that?
It's a bit better. Continue, please.
Hello, Mayor and Council and residents of San Bernardino. I'm here to speak on item number 3 in the veto reconsideration per municipal code 1.08.040 of the charter amendment to eliminate the elected of at-large mayor. We cannot allow the 4 council members to move forward with trying to eliminate the at-large mayor position. What these council members want is the pure power grab. Sounds crazy, right? Well, there is word floating on social media with the votes of 3 council members, Ibarra, Reynoso, and Alexander, are taking the will of voters away to vote for this item on June the 7th. This is untrue. I see this as one of the candidates running for mayor who doesn't want the mayor's position to exist, but yet wants to run around manipulating the residents' minds by making this sound like their votes are being taken away. I have to say it's a lie. Do not let the Ortiz camp lie to you. The residents didn't ask for this item. The item came forward on behalf of Council Member Fred Choret. With that request, 3 other council members voted in favor of elimination of the mayor's position. Because only 4 council members voted in favor, this allowed our mayor, John Valdivia, to veto the item. It is now coming back to the council in hopes of overturning the item. People of San Bernardino, please understand the position of mayor must remain. Councilmember Reynoso couldn't have said it any better last meeting. Council members do have jobs. There would be no way of a council member to conduct the daily duties of a mayor. Therefore, I hope this item does not get overturned and it moves forward, saving our city funds on having to pay for the item to be placed on the ballot. I hope the vote tonight will remain the same as last week. This is a reminder of how politics works. Pressure the 3 council members to override a veto, which the mayor has placed to protect the mayor's position. The Ortiz for mayor camp needs to seriously get a life. Treasurer Ortiz, if you don't want a mayor for our city, then please, I ask, step aside and stop trying to ruin our city government.
Thank
If
you.
you don't
Thank
like
you.
our government, please
Mr.
go
Jaramillo, your
back
time
to
is
your
up,
own
sir.
city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, John.
Thank you. Ms. City Clerk, any other comments?
We have one more person. Just one moment. Ronald Donis, please unmute your mic and address the council. Ronald Donis, you have 3 minutes to address the council.
No, my name is Ronald Donis. I'm live in Ward 1, and I'm here speaking in support of the warehouse moratorium. The city looks terrible. Semi-trucks are destroying the streets, and the air quality is, I mean, if you look at it every day, it's a lot worse in our neighboring communities, which I have to say has something to do with the warehouses. And I also, in here, support to put item 3 on the ballot for the residents to vote. A lot of people here are talking about how we need a strong mayor and strong leadership, and how the city deserves to vote for that, but we're not allowed to vote whether we want a mayor or not. the city has had a lot of issues with the leadership, and what this would hopefully do is give us an actual council, city manager government. So I urge you, especially Councilman Ben Reynoso, to vote yes to put this on the ballot so the residents can have a voice, the residents can vote, and ultimately we make that decision. And again, I vote and I plead that this warehouse moratorium gets on the ballot for my daughter, for our children, for everybody who doesn't want to leave this community and really wants to live here, where we can go to Disneyland, where we can go to the mountains, where we can go to the beach, and it's beautiful, and we're not subsidizing Jeff Bezos or other big companies deliveries and houses at the expense of our communities. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, if I may, this is a reminder to members of the public. The remote public comment is for members that are not in attendance here at the council chambers.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. City Clerk, any ADA written comments?
Yes, I have two. The first one is from Keith Wisniewski. All these people being killed in our streets, it's out of control and no end in sight. Mayor, council, chief of police, what are you going to do? I forgot. Let's go arrest the vendors for trying to support their families and pay bills. Let's go tow away people's cars that some live in. Let's go spend $9 million on a park that will not be kept up after it's clean. Let's go spend another $6 million at a park that is known to be in a dirty and gang-infested neighborhood for many years. But San Bernardino don't have a problem. I guess the so-called leaders just keep kicking the can down the road. Apply for these grants or ask the state for help to clean up those so-called 76 gangs in our city. No sense at all. Mayor, you're a problem. I myself think that you are a POS human being, just my opinion. The next comment is from Mr. Tim Dram. First, I want to tell Ben I'm sorry about your loss. Now on to business. Sandra, Ben, and Damon, you are taking away mine and every resident's right to vote on the elimination of the elected mayor. You three have taken our voice away. Sandra, it is not true that everyone wanted to keep the mayor when the charter change was happening. And Ben and Damon, letting people vote is not about you or your life. Neither of you could be here in 3 years, but we can't vote because it's not convenient for your lifestyle today. You're treating us like they did to the people in Georgia by not wanting certain people to vote, and that should offend you. And if we had a good mayor, this would still be up for discussion, because a good mayor would have brought it up and support it like Dr. Treasurer Ortiz does. Please vote yes and overturn yet another Valdivia selfish veto so the residents can have a voice. Also, Damien, homeless plan is a fraud. You guys need to talk about this as a group. All I see is homeless people being moved from ward to ward and street to street. That is not a pilot project or plan. I want to waste any of my tax dollars on holding a meeting like Councilwoman Kimberly Calvin asked for last year. That concludes public comments.
Thank you very much. We will move on to our discussion portion of tonight's calendar. This is item number 3, the veto reconsideration per Municipal Code 1.08.040 of a charter amendment to eliminate the elected at-large mayor. This time I'll ask the city clerk to please read into the record the veto memo received from our office.
Veto memo was received on February 7th. It says, during the mayor and city council meeting held on February 2nd, 2022, item number 5, titled Charter Amendment to Eliminate the Elected at-Large Mayor, was passed, with Councilman Sanchez motioning to approve staff's recommendation, with the second by Councilwoman Calvin. The proposed staff recommendation text is below for your reference. Review and consider placement of a charter amendment to eliminate the position of the elected at-large mayor on the ballot for June 7th, 2022 primary election. And if the council wishes, adopt resolution number 2022-25 of the mayor and city council of the city of San Bernardino, submitting to the qualified voters of the city a proposed amendment to the city charter to eliminate the office of the elected mayor at large and replace it with the mayor appointed on an annual basis from among the 7 elected council members at a primary municipal election to be consolidated with the statewide primary election to be held on June 7, 2022, directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis of the proposed charter amendment and providing for the filing of a primary and rebuttal arguments and setting rules for and providing for the filing of primary and rebuttal arguments and setting the rules for the filing of written arguments regarding the proposed charter amendment. Pursuant to Charter Section 303, subsection B, I am afforded the ability to veto any item within 5 days of receipt if the resolution or ordinance was approved by fewer than 5 votes of the City Council. Under this authority, as the mayor of the city, I hereby issue a veto on this matter and will reject and not sign the official resolution.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. You've read the memo. The item is before you, and our first speaker from our membership here is Ben Reynoso. Sir.
Thank you. First, you all heard, if they didn't mention explicitly, all of our mayoral candidates showed up tonight. It was good to hear from you in this format. Just wanted to share a few things here. So I haven't changed how I feel about it. I mean, my actions would change. I'm not going to lie to you. My actions would change to my vote tonight. But I couldn't separate, and I abstained. And I understand you should only abstain if you have a conflict of interest. My conflict originally was knowing, you know, it was sold to the community and it rallied around, and I fully believe in putting it on the ballot. And that's why I've changed my mind on that part. But it didn't come from the community. This, I'm not going to pinpoint, but I have a colleague who has been championing this for quite a while. And it started because, you know, for lack of better words, we don't have the greatest representation in the office of the mayor right now. And I was under the impression that this was more than that, that this was about really evaluating former Mayor Baez. We're under a council manager form of government. Unfortunately, I agree with your sentiments when it's a strong mayor form of government, but we're not there anymore. Big charter push to push that or to change that. But I want people to understand what this means. If we approve this tonight, it will be on the ballot for you to decide if you want the mayor here or not. And then you will see, same way you saw like the recall election. Yes or no on the recall? Who would you like just in case? So this is to put everybody in the community on notice. And let's not act like we're ignorant to the fact that people are not really watching this meeting as much as they should. Social media and the internet and the news do not reach everybody in a city like San Bernardino where you're slaving in a warehouse or wherever else all day and night. And I come from that perspective of reality, of what people will understand, what people will come to the ballot knowing. And so that's why I was uncomfortable. And I have no shame in that. Zero. And I won't be pressured by anyone. But if you believe in these candidates who spoke tonight, when you have the option to vote yes or no if you want the mayor to exist, you're put on notice to go support these candidates, to really get around and get behind somebody. If you're voting no, don't get rid of it, then you should damn sure have a really good candidate who's going to represent this city, right? But this is why we have the democratic process. People are not wrong. We have to put it on the ballot. It's here now. The beast is out of the cage. We can't act like it's not here. It's here. And so I'm going to support it. I abstained last time, but I'm really going to support it because that was despicable. In the middle of the night to veto something that absolutely pertained directly to you, man. And so that's why, if for nothing else.
Okay, Councilman Charette, sir.
Yeah, thank you. A lot has been said here tonight on both sides of the dais, and this has had nothing to do with the personalities that are currently in office or were in office or might be in office in the future. This is all about good governance and doing what the people of San Bernardino did in 2016 and change the charter to a strong manager-council form of government. And we can do that with all due respect to our former mayor. That was then, and this is now. We don't have a strong mayor anymore. The mayor has virtually no authority other than what he does, as was just mentioned, kind of in the dark of night to veto something. And we had 4 votes, which was a majority, to put this on. And he took away those 4 votes, but ultimately took away the citizens' opportunity to vote for this type of governance in our community. So the veto needs to be looked at as well, no matter what happens with the mayor's position. It is my opinion, and I will be bringing back something on that order, that a mayor shouldn't be able to not even participate in the discussion and then 5 days later provide a veto. And so I think it should be done after the vote is taken, immediately on an issue, certainly by the end of that meeting, and be done in person in the light of day with everybody in the room watching and seeing it, not done secretly as it kind of appears to be. So I, of course, as I say, I've been talking about this for not just recently, not just since Mayor Valdivia was the elected mayor, but back I was part of this council when we did change the charter. And with all due respect to Ms. Ibarra, that wasn't the will of the people. The charter has been, it is vague. I've given kudos and all due respect to the committee that worked on this so diligently and so hard, but they've left it vague, and there's a lot that still needs to be done, and it's been left up to the city council, not the mayor, not an elected mayor. It's been led up to the city council to clean that up and get the municipal code in sync with the charter. And it is not currently that way. And we need to be working on that. And that's something that I'm going to promote and try to clean up some of the things that are very vague in our current charter that don't sync up and match with our municipal code. The salary of the mayor was one of them. The charter calls for a full-time mayor but doesn't define full-time. It doesn't define the salary. It doesn't define anything about the mayor. And it's taken away a lot of the responsibilities. I believe that the term spokesman for the city is incorrect. I think it should be spokesman for the body, for us. We are the leaders of this community, and it should be he or she should be speaking, representing what this body votes for. So I would move that we approve a vote or vote again and overturn the veto that the mayor put forth.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ibarra, followed by Councilmember Kelvin.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify, my last name is Ibarra, not Ibarra. So, Mr. Fred, my colleague, Councilman Charette, you mentioned this is not about current personalities, yet you did a editorial. I don't know who's seen it. In that editorial, he has the paragraphs, and he is directing at our current mayor. With his constant absences, the council is forced to take the lead, and as a result, I believe the council meetings function better without him. This is strictly political. This is just a way to get rid of our current mayor. However, the voters have that opportunity come June 2022. That is up to the voters. If the voters decide to not have a mayor at large, just know this is the last time you'll be voting for a mayor, and you will no longer have a mayor to vote for. After this, it will be up to us up here, the council members, to select a different mayor every year without the vote of the residents of the city. If that is what the voters want, then you will have that opportunity. You will no longer be able to vote for a mayor at large after this. And some of the people who are running for mayor know this perfectly well, and it is specific to the current mayor that we have. It is not for the well-being of this city. I I stand behind the words I said. I went to 3 out of 6 community meetings. And in those 3 of 6 community meetings, the residents were specifically asked, would you like to still keep a mayor at large? And they said yes. That's why it was kept when the amendment was done for the charter. Do not say that that's not what the community wanted. However, if that's what you guys want to vote for in June, to get rid of your mayor at large and your power to vote for a mayor, then go ahead, because I am the minority. If you want to do that, go ahead, and just know that I am telling you how it is. This is a political maneuver to just get rid of the current mayor, because what are they saying? Out of 8 candidates that are running for mayor, none of them are good enough to take him out. That's what they're saying.
Councilmember Kelvin.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I appreciate that. I would like to reiterate my points that I mentioned when we first took our vote. This is strictly dealing with the charter. While we may not appreciate current mayor, what I will state is that the charter being written and reflecting with what former Mayor Valles is referring to is a strong mayor form of government. The community did not vote for that in 2016. They voted for a city manager, council form of government. Can you see the conflict? Meaning, if the current mayor is just a face for the city, doesn't have to report to work, but yet can veto what was voted for to run the city, which is city council, city manager form of government, what is the purpose? It is almost like a setup. It is almost like it was written to maintain the current mayor at that time's position, including salary, benefits, vehicle, and never have to come to work. I can't imagine that the city of San Bernardino would want us to not be accountable for the funds that are going out, $345,000 a year for the mayor, who doesn't have to report to work, but yet the community voted for a city council, city manager form of government, just so that there will be one person that will be able to veto what you voted for us to be able to do? Conflict, constant conflict. It cannot operate that way. So we must choose again. We must choose again. No one is taking your right. You're going to have the right. And so that narrative needs to be thrown directly out the door, because that is what June 7th is for. It's for you to have the right. We're not taking that. What we are trying to show you is that from the inside, what happens when we, the majority of the council, vote on something that you elected us to do, that you changed the charter in 2016 for us to be able to operate within. So really, what was it? Which way is it? Because I'm just expressing my personal concern with the conflict that is created each time we make a decision on how to move the city of San Bernardino forward. Something has to be decided, ladies and gentlemen, and that's where we are today. I would hope that each of us, all of you, and your community members, your relatives, register to vote. Register to vote, so that then this does not just become some type of dramatic expression where the outcome that we are all grateful to have, our right to vote, is still in place, and that we are being engaged constituents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For our viewing audience and those members of the public, I encourage you to please turn to packet page 54 into 53. Ms. Kelvin has suggested and alluded that and she perhaps is referencing the calculation there afforded by our staff members. There is no financial impact associated with consideration of a city charter amendment beyond staff time. If the council decides to move forward with placing the charter amendment on the 22 ballot, there will be a fiscal impact of about $50,000. By the way, my parenthetical, not the staff, that number always changes. That number is a guesstimate by city clerk on that number. I guarantee you that number will be more. I'll continue to read verbatim. If the charter amendment is approved by voters, there will be an annual savings of $367,000 and some change with the elimination of the elected at-large mayor. I do not draw a salary of $367,000. Let me repeat. I do not draw a salary of $367,000, nor what was alluded to as a misstatement by Ms. Kelvin on $345,000 a year. That is false. We will go back to the motion. Go ahead, Ms. Kelvin.
Mr. Mayor, if we were community, to take this to a personal level, the $50,000 that the mayor is stating it will cost us for the vote, ask the question, how much does he cost us?
Okay, thank you. There's a
And
motion.
one further comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Charette.
No, the mayor doesn't draw that kind of a salary, but that's the cost of that position with all the peripheral stuff that goes along with that office. And under this form of charter, which the people overwhelmingly supported in 2016, the office is unnecessary. So it'll be spending $50,000 to put something on a ballot to save $350,000, $340,000, $367,000. It'll be spending $50,000 to spend over $300,000, and that $300,000 is every year thereafter. So it's something that I think, again, it's all about giving the people the right to vote, and I call for the question.
Mr. Charette, the 367 that is alluded to in packet page 55, historically, the mayor has had staff members that exceed 15 members in his or her office and well over upwards of $1 million annually. So if we were to put things in perspective here, the 367 is far shorter than historical timeline would point and suggest.
We had to remove all the employees from your office.
Well, this is political.
Call for the vote.
I'm sorry.
A motion that we call for the vote.
We'll maintain some order here, please. This is a political move, and this is a political hit, and we will call for the question. Let's do this. Let's do an oral vote. Ms. City Clerk, I want these members on record. Let's call for oral. Let's call for oral vote, please. Ms. City Clerk.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Charette?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Kelvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Nay.
The motion fails.
Motion fails.
The motion fails. Let's move on to item number 4. This is an urgency ordinance establishing the campaign contribution limitations under the Assembly Bill 571 affecting all wards. The recommendation is there before you, and can we please get a staff report?
Yes, just very briefly, this is a cleanup item for with respect to bringing the city's campaign limits into compliance with current state law, but it gives us local control. So it's really, honestly, it's just a cleanup item, and staff recommends approval.
Move approval.
The motion by Charette.
Second.
Second by Sanchez. Any final comments or questions? If not, members, please register their votes electronically.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the item passes. Item number 4. We'll move on to our public hearings tonight. Item number 5, the public hearing notification Development Code Amendment 21-04 affecting all wards. The recommendation is there before you. At this time, I will schedule the ordinance. Schedule the adoption of the above ordinance for the regularly scheduled meeting of the Mayor and City Council on March 2 of 2022. And Ms. City Clerk, would you please read into the record the title of ordinance MC-2104?
1574.
I'm sorry, MC 1574.
Ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, approving the Development Code Amendment 21-04, amending Chapter 19.52, Hearings and Appeals of Title 19, Development Code of the City of San Bernardino Municipal Code, updating the public hearing notification requirements for discretionary land use entitlement applications, and finding that Development Code Amendment 21-04 is exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. I now open the public hearing at approximately 9:15 p.m. Could I please get a staff report on this item? Mr. Mojica.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of City Council. Item before you is Development Code Amendment 21-04.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mojica. Ms. Weeks, if we could please close the door there. Thank you very much. We'll wait for a few seconds here. Ms. Weeks, can you please close that door for us? Thank you. And we'll resume our public hearing. Thank you very much. Mr. Mojica?
Yes, thank you. The next item before you is Development Code Amendment 21-04. It involves the amendments to the Development Code for public hearing notifications. The California Government Code establishes the distancing requirement of 300 feet radius from the project property for notifications for public hearings. The city's municipal code standard is 500 feet for notices, and again, both of those requirements are for property owners only. Neither the California Code or the city's code addresses notifying residents that are renters or the tenants of commercial businesses or non-residential properties. There's issue before is that there's a large number of absentee owners, so in many cases, we will notify the residents of an area, but if they're the property owners, I should say, but if there are renters, they will never receive a notice in the mail. Likewise, you can be a new commercial project or an industrial development that is next to neighboring businesses and types, and so your neighboring business, if you're a business owner next door and you're leasing a building or what have you, you will not receive that notice either. And so the issue is that we want to eliminate, so it basically eliminates their opportunity to show up meetings, know what's going on next door within their community. This item was presented before the Planning Commission on September the 14th, and they adopted resolution 2021-024, recommending that the City Council consider adopting the ordinance, which establishes a 1,000 square foot. I'm mumbling here. I'm sorry. 1,000-foot radius from the property. Also, that we would notify not just the property owners, but also the residents and also the business owners. They've also made a suggestion or recommendation that the notices be done in English and Spanish. With that, we're asking that the council consider that consideration to introduce the ordinance. I will say that I have an example here of a typical notice that goes out before all our projects. It's basically one sheet of paper. It's double-sided, so it has it gives you the particulars where the meeting is, when the meeting is, describes what the project or the application is, and some of the information if you want to attend the meeting, and then a location map where you have. On the back side is the return address that would come to us. Essentially, what happens is this is folded, and tri-folded, taped, and then mailed off. I mentioned that because if we were to do it bilingual, that we'd have to find another form. Maybe it would be two sheets, two sheets folded in an envelope. Case being is that it adds a little bit of cost. We do have a fee resolution the council had adopted that talks about the, it's a cost recovery item, And so what we do, we currently charge $150 when they submit their application. And at the time when we get the labels from the applicant, we will calculate how many properties are involved, how many labels and mailings need to occur. And then we can get back to the applicant and say, okay, before we go to the public hearing, there's a balance here that you need to pay for that. So really, it will be on a case-by-case basis. I just wanted to make you aware of that. There will be some added cost. On average, with the 500-foot radius, we're looking at about anywhere from 40 to 60 mailers that go out, depending on the type of project and if it's in a residential area or not. Typically, if it's a commercial or industrial project, there are large parcels that are nearby, so it's not that many. And so obviously the 1,000-foot radius would increase that amount. With that concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Mr.
I'd like to make a
Mojica.
motion to approve the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Let me read the script, and then we'll get into that in just a second. We have any requests to speak, Ms. City Clerk, on this matter?
No, we do not.
Does anyone wish to speak on this item here in tonight's meeting? Seeing none, we'll move on. I now close the public hearing at approximately 9:19 p.m. for deliberation and action. Mr. Reynoso, sir, you're recognized for that motion.
I'll second.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. It's a motion by Reynoso and a second by Ibarra. Members, please cast your votes.
Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Figueroa voting in opposition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mojica. Thank you very much. Let's transition now to our consent calendar of tonight's portion. These are items numbers 6 through 22. The members had approximately 96 hours to pose their questions and inquiries to our city manager. Are there any members of our city council wishing to pull an item?
I'm wishing to pull item 8.
I have a question about 18.
I have a question on
Hold on.
number 6.
Hold on. Ms. Ibarra?
Just real quick question. Why are these council meetings from July 2020 coming before us right now?
We're behind on the minutes. We're catching up. We had redistricting, and then my chief deputy came on board at the end of October, so we're still catching up.
Okay, so we're at in 2020 right now then with the minutes?
I understand that, but I've been understaffed for the majority of the time that I've been here.
That's all I needed to ask. Thank you.
Mr. Reynoso, your item on 18, question?
Assistant Chief Green. So I'm under the understanding that it's a pretty fluid program and you're behind, but it wasn't calculated in the general budget. My concern obviously was I wish you would have flagged that. The ask is for $1.3 million. I understand that you've been able to purchase about 5 vehicles, and your game plan typically is like 15 new ones per year to avoid maintenance fees and things like that I understand. I just want to know what the status would be. I mean, obviously, I didn't pull it to deny it. This is just the question. I want to know more so about the general concerns of the community. Like, what does it mean to have more cars in relation to response times? I know you can't prevent things like drive-by shootings, but what does it mean? What's the simplest way you can answer that? Is this going to correlate directly to response times? New vehicles, these new Explorers?
Well, it absolutely does. As we get low on vehicles, there are times when we have officers waiting after briefing for the prior shift to come in, and they are not able to go out into the field because they are waiting for a vehicle to drive, because these vehicles are in 24-hour use. And also, just to clarify, you said that these were not in the budget. That's different than my understanding. This is coming out of what was budgeted for this year.
That's not the way it's presented in the staff report. Is that it's an additional ask to amend the budget?
This is from our budgeted vehicle allotment for this year. I don't know if maybe there's confusion in that we did not budget for vehicles the past few years. We forewent purchasing a vehicle, and I don't know if maybe that's causing the confusion.
Mr. City Manager, maybe you can help out on the staff report, provide some background as to the accounting.
Councilman Reynoso, which section of the staff report are you referring to?
I'm looking at page 425 here. Got a sentence, fiscal year 2020 coronavirus emergency supplemental funding. You bought cars with that. Hold on. Where's the fiscal? Yeah. Okay. Fiscal impact is on 427. Yeah, I'm looking at it here, and I'm just wondering, because typically, correct me if I'm wrong, City Manager, if there's no real fiscal impact, like such as capital improvement projects, it will state that it's already been allotted in the budget. Why would there be a box here breaking down exactly how much it would cost if it was already included in the budget?
You're looking under the fiscal impact in the box that's marked fiscal impact?
Because those are updates, my understanding, right? When you place something under that section of the agenda, this is new, correct?
No, it's not. This is a reflection of expenditures from current. This is a new section of our staff reports that is intended to provide a current accounting of how we're expending against budget, but it does not represent a budget adjustment or an increase. That's the intention. If it needs clarification, I will certainly work with Barbara Whitehorn when she gets back and make sure that it's more clear.
When you read the conclusion, it looks like it's an addition.
Okay, we'll work on making sure that's more clear.
Okay, because I saw that too. When you read it, it looks like it's an addition.
I appreciate this addition, though, because I've been asking, I asked specifically around Public Works, when you did mention it, as I mentioned before, that no additional funding is needed. This has already been approved in the CIP budget. And I asked for, even though that is there, transparency for the public. So maybe this is that, but it reads like it's an addition. It absolutely reads like an addition.
We'll work on perfecting it. So.
Right. Thank you for that, though.
And Councilman, I apologize if there's confusion on that, but I would emphasize that we work hard to stay within our budget and not spring surprises on the council. So this was in our budget amount this year.
Move approval on the balance.
Second.
Mr. Charette,
whatever hasn't been pulled.
Well, all right. It was just a question. So move the.
Wasn't there one?
Yeah. All right. We'll move the balance of that includes 18. There's a motion and a second. Members cast their votes, and then we'll go into the polls.
We'll do a voice vote for this one. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And Ms. City Clerk, that does include item number 18. Mr. City Manager, can you please just provide maybe some synopsis on Mr. Reynoso's inquiry to make sure that he's, and Councilmember Alexander?
Yes, we will provide clarification.
Very good.
Yes.
So as to not delay the purchase of our police vehicles. Item number 8, Councilmember Calvin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the resolution, City Manager, but I wanted to see if I could amend. I'd like to add a motion to approve item 8 with an amendment. So the city, in preparing our general plan, has to make sure to incorporate additional housing capacity, temporary, transitional, and permanent supportive. I'd like to add to the motion to approve item 8 a statement to the effect that while the resolution addresses services, the city's request to the county should also request that the county partner with us in providing additional shelter and housing options designed to serve the unsheltered community members and also community members who are like one paycheck away from being homeless. This partnership can be sure create a pathway to breaking the cycle of San Bernardino being identified as the homeless capital and allowing other neighboring cities to drop their homeless in our city. With San Bernardino being the county seat, it's past time that we implement our own unsheltered initiatives and a strategic plan and request the support that we need. I'm grateful that the governor has allocated funding to assist our city with all the areas of concern we possess, and $8 billion is what his budget is allowing. I just need for Director Whitehorn to know exactly what that amount is allocated to the city of San Bernardino, so that we may plan to execute a strategic planning workshop to address homelessness as a state of emergency or national health crisis for the city of San Bernardino, as the county did. We can't plan or request assistance from partners without knowing exactly how much money we'll be bringing to the table. So I think that this is imperative that we partner with the county, but that we request from and utilize all resources coming from every angle that we can possibly, so that we can create a more holistic, a more comprehensive and strategic plan for our city.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Okay, move for approval on staff recommendation, Mr. Charette?
Yeah, with the caveat that was...
Councilmember Calvin. Councilmember Calvin, if I can get a copy of that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
A second.
Very good. Members cast their votes, please. Members cast their votes on item number 8.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. This is item number 23, folks. This is, we're almost towards the end of our meeting. Item number 23, items to be considered for future meetings. Mr. Reynoso, you're recognized regarding the warehouse moratorium. I want to remind you that we are not talking in-depth policy. We're simply trying to add this to the calendar at a future meeting if the council decides that way. Sir?
Thank you. This is a second attempt. Many of you know, first time it happened during the Zoom era. Don't feel that it got the attention that it deserved. And as was mentioned in public comment, the city of Chino and Colton, surprisingly enough, little Colton next to us, have initiated this. The intention of this is to study the impacts. That's what would happen if an emergency ordinance, because that's how it would have to come forward, is initiated, so that we can actually begin to assess, first and foremost, the infrastructure, environmental, societal. I'm talking about social impacts of having warehouses pop up without any community input before they pop up. And so it's beautiful that we just passed with what Mr. Mojica was mentioning in item 5, where we're expanding to 1,000 feet. But imagine if people had known that in the past, before all these warehouses were built. And so I think as the warehouse hub of the Inland Empire, is due diligence to do this, to initiate this. And this is a pause. This is not anti-job, and I appreciate the carpenters speaking out too. Believe it or not, they were one of my strongest supporters. And I imagine that they may still be, because they understand that even though they have to fight for jobs, and we understand, especially union folks in here, you have to fight for your jobs. But what happens after that is what concerns me most. That's what is sustainable here, and it's not sustainable. But we'll get to that. And so I'd like to make a motion to approve the initiation, or to bring back. My understanding, Mr. City Manager, is this will have to come back to the next agenda, correct? If approved tonight?
To a future agenda, but very soon, yes. Probably the next one.
When Mike Huntley was here, it had to come back immediately because it's emergency ordinance.
Oh, as an emergency ordinance, yeah.
That's what it's worded, right?
So,
I'll second.
I know so.
yeah.
Second.
All right. Okay.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion to bring this as an emergency ordinance. And there's been a motion by Councilmember Reynoso with the second by Councilmember Ibarra. Members, please cast your vote to add it to a future meeting.
Yeah, I will not be supporting this tonight. This council has the authority to guide the future development of this city, and we can study it without a moratorium. We have every chance to ensure that any future development in this city has mitigating measures so that any negative impacts of that development any negative impacts of that development will be mitigated through actions we can take right here. And that's why I won't be supporting this moratorium. I will be at the forefront, and I will support any studies, any future legislation that, again, will ensure that any ill effects of development, whether it's housing or warehouses, is mitigated through our development code and through our discretion as council members here.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Members of the public, we're going to ask that you refrain from interrupting our meeting, please. Thank you. All right, final, Ms. Calvin?
Yes, thank you very much. A moratorium means we're talking about a hold. We're talking about an opportunity of time to allow us to do due diligence. But there's some things that we know that we need to hold it for. Truck routes. Our general plan currently is being created. The downtown redevelopment. We just got through talking about one street in Ward 6 that's going to get paved. And I also heard a constituent mention we pave the streets and then the big trucks come through. We get a good rain, we're all falling in. We're talking about a hold to allow us, as we are planning on developing every inch of this city. We need this time. We have 76, I believe, or more warehouses in this city. Just about half are sitting empty. So, if we have someone who wants to come in, a company that wants to come in, and they're looking for space, we got it already. They can move in. They don't need to build their own. Allow us to hold, utilize what we have so that we can plan out what we need to. Development codes need to be updated. We have so many things that we're on the path of creating better things for the city of San Bernardino. We cannot just continue to allow temporary positions or even to satisfy my fellow union brothers and sisters, because we do have to look on the other side as well. Is that what happens then when we just have all of these buildings taking up space where we could be building housing and other forms of development, because our city is lacking.
Okay, members, please, I'm sorry, Councilmember Alexander, sir.
Yes, thank you. The reason why I'll be supporting this particular issue, the emergency moratorium, is because we are working through the development code. And there's things in the city that we don't have safeguards. Sizes of distribution centers are too large. Safeguards, a safeguard like this, I proposed this when I spoke to PlaceWorks. A safeguard is, and we can do this, is where we say a distribution center can only stay vacant for so long, and then whoever owns that distribution center has to do something with it, either tear it down and make it shovel ready. But it's a safeguard. We have to improve those safeguards. And the sizes of distribution centers, I also have a problem with millions square feet sizes, because you can't repurpose. It's easier to repurpose a 300 square thousand distribution center than a million. We have to look at those type of issues, and that's where I look at it from. The repurposing of these buildings, distribution centers, not for today, but for tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, members, I want to remind you that we're just trying to add this to a calendar, yay or nay, and we'll dispense with the rationale or philosophical differences you may have for or against. We just want to add this to the calendar, but it's up to the discretion of the City Council. So we have a motion and a second, And members, please cast their votes electronically.
Motion carries 4-3.
I'll veto it. I'll veto it. Doing it publicly. So, the jobs bring, you guys have already been to my neighborhood, so we appreciate your presence here tonight. Thank you. But warehouses, job centers really bring jobs to our community. We're going to do the right thing in our city. So this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. The meeting will be adjourned to March 2, 2022 here at Feldheim Library. Thank you and good evening.